And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank, it is not a damn dinosaur. He's going to feel something from it. And it ain't going to be easy to hit him. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out.
In Florida, man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots.
Oh, Tank's going to kill him. Tank's going to kill him because he won't be able to touch Tank. And then...
It's kind of like the Tyson thing again, though, right? Like
it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of like, in barbershops across the world, people, or at least the country, people will talk about this and be like, oh, Tank's going to kill him because he will not get hit.
The boxing world is buzzing as Gervonta Davis steps into training camp looking sharper and stronger than ever ahead of his clash with Jake Paul. Recent footage captures him attacking. The heavy bag with explosive power, pinpoint accuracy, and relentless focus proof of the intensity fueling his preparation. Experts across the sport have praised Davis's conditioning and composure, noting that his success will depend on strategy as much as strength. Analysts stress that for Davis to win, he must stay disciplined using movement, ring control, and timing instead of chasing an early knockout. His true brilliance lies in patience and the ability to read and counter an opponent's rhythm. Known for his devastating punching power, Davis's defense and counterpunching are what make him truly elite. Many believe that if he fights smart, Jake Paul won't be able to match his precision, speed, or technical mastery. Can Gervonta's speed and skill make up for the size difference? Honestly, he'll need to fight smart from start to finish. It's hard to predict exactly how things will play out, but I think Gervonta will rely on his movement, sticking and moving, using his quickness, and staying sharp. I don't see him standing still long enough for Jake to land clean shots. He'll focus on touching Jake, scoring points, and avoiding damage. At the end of the day, it's an exhibition more about entertainment and money than legacy. Still, Jake's stepping in there with one of the best boxers in the game.
Can his speed and, his ability make up for that size difference, in your honest opinion?
Well, he has to be very smart throughout the course of the fight. It's hard to know in some things. I think Gervonta is just gonna stick and move. He'll be fast, play it smart. I don't see him staying still for too long so Jake can land some shots. He'll just try to touch him. Who knows, man? It's an exhibition. It's a money grab. Jake's fighting one of the best boxers ever.
Experts predict that Jake Paul is in for a harsh reality check when he steps into the ring with Gervonta Davis. They argue that Tank's experience, speed, and ring intelligence are on an entirely different level from anything Jake has faced before. While Jake's past opponents may have had size and strength, none possessed Tank's explosive timing or ability to capitalize on openings. Many analysts believe that once Davis lands clean, the power gap will become painfully clear. They describe Jake's defense as raw and unproven, whereas Davis's seasoned ring IQ enables him to anticipate and counter every move. As a result, many foresee a knockout as almost inevitable. The consensus is that once Tank connects, Jake won't have the stamina or defensive skill to withstand the assault, likely leading to a quick and emphatic finish.
Tank Davis look crazy, bro. Chilaquiles. Gervonta Tank Davis hitting a heavy bag in preparation for his Jake Paul fight November 14th down there in Florida. Man looks absolutely amazing. Man looks like a monster. Man looks like precision. Jake Paul cannot take those body shots. You mean to tell me somebody who done fought UFC fighters and a man with Parkinson's disease can take a body punch from Gervonta Tank Davis, and y'all basing y'all logic just because Jake Paul is big? No, Tank's gonna go ahead and put this man to sleep. I'm telling y'all that right now. If Tank don't put this man to sleep, he done let the black community down, he done let boxing down, and he ain't never been that nice. You Tank fans, y'all trying to give him a pass. If y'all said Tank is as skilled as y'all say he is, if he does not put Jake Paul to sleep and stop Jake Paul, his boxing career is absolutely voided. He already don't care about legacy. And just imagine he don't knock out Jake Paul, and now y'all want to say it's not a real fight, it's an exhibition. No, we not giving no passes, bro. This Gervonta Tank Davis. He needs to put Jake Paul to sleep. I don't want to hear nothing about, Jake Paul too big. No, Jake Paul chin ain't never been tested by somebody that hit as hard as Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank should put this man to sleep with ease. I'll say that respectfully. If you don't put him to sleep,
a 2-pack of ass. That shit stink.
That's a 2-pack of ass at the highest level. And it's a musty energy at the highest level. Get it together. Get it together. Tank looks amazing. That's the Chilla Killer. Chilla Killers. Chilla Killers.
The issue of weight has become one of the most talked about factors leading up to this fight. Some believe the size difference is simply too big to overlook, while others argue that Gervont's polished skill set will easily bridge the gap. Fans and analysts remain split, many even questioning whether the bout should happen at all, given Jake's naturally larger frame. Still, Tank's supporters maintain that his speed, discipline, and pinpoint accuracy give him the tools to dominate bigger opponents. They emphasize that boxing is not a contest of size, but of control, angles, and timing. In their view, Jake's fundamentals are still too raw to truly challenge Davis, whose technical mastery should be more than enough to offset any physical disadvantage.
It is happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight. And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves. And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Michael Bisping acknowledges Tank's exceptional power and skill, but cautions that size can't be completely overlooked. He praises Gervont's ability to adjust when facing larger opponents, yet reminds fans that physical differences always play some role in a fight's outcome. According to Bisping, Tank has the ring, IQ, and agility to outthink and outmaneuver Jake, though the weight disparity could challenge his stamina and ability to absorb heavier shots. Still, he admires Tank's determination and believes that if anyone can overcome such an obstacle, it's him. Bisping concludes that while size remains a genuine factor, Davis's technical brilliance and strategic precision could still be enough to neutralize Jake's physical edge, provided he executes his game plan flawlessly.
Out there taking on Mike Tyson that's pushing 60 years old, for crying out loud, but at the same time pretending to be like this badass motherfucker, sending me DMs talking. He offered me a contract a long time ago, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm a retired fighter and I've got one eye. Why would I want to fight you? I wouldn't lower myself for doing that. A lot of people do that. They do lower themselves, if you want to say that, because of the payday. Because Jake Paul is a big name. He is a social media sensation. He's a YouTube star. And now, of course, in the world of boxing, he's one of boxing's biggest stars because he puts on these spectacles like Paul versus Tyson, like Nate Diaz, because these are the fighters, these are the names that attract the eyes. Jake Paul is the B-side for almost every single one of his fights. When he fought Nate Diaz, people were tuning in for Nate Diaz. His last fight against Cesar Chavez Jr., apparently no one watched the fight. Apparently the pay-per-views were ridiculously low. So this one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous, and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off him as hard as he could, it's dangerous. That's why fights like this can't get sanctioned. That's why this is a exhibition bout and not a real matchup. Now listen, they're both going to get paid tremendously. They're going to make a ton of money, and a lot of people are going to tune in and watch it on Netflix. Fair play.
Several analysts have spoken out against what they see as the unfair criticism of Gervonta Davis's resume. They point out that many fighters who share the ring with Tank gain significant recognition afterward. For instance, opponents like Lamont, who were relatively unknown before facing Davis, have seen their popularity and careers rise following their bouts with him. Analysts argue this demonstrates Tank's undeniable influence and star power within the sport. They dismiss claims that Davis isn't the face of boxing, emphasizing that his fights not only generate massive attention, but also create opportunities for others. In their view, questioning his legacy overlooks the fact that Tank consistently elevates the profiles of his opponents simply by stepping into the ring with them.
Ongoing discussion in the boxing world about Gervonta Davis and Gervonta Davis, his resume, who he's going to fight, the competitors that he's going to fight. And every once in a while, something happens that proves that Gervonta Davis is the face of that. If he's not the face of boxing because people just don't want him to be that, man, he is real close to it, because other than Canelo Alvarez, and even consider Canelo Alvarez included, nobody in boxing has divisions circulating around him like Gervonta Davis does. And that was proved during this Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz announcement for their pay-per-view. Just think about this. Gervonta Davis, they always say that Gervonta Davis has a poor resume, but yet Gervonta Davis, guys that fight Gervonta Davis, lose to Gervonta Davis, or get a draw to Gervonta Davis, can fight one another and make an anticipated pay-per-view between the two of them. Because that fight with Pitbull Cruz is a very, very popular fighter with Mexican fight fans. Lamont Roach got a lot of name exposure with black fight fans and Mexican fight fans and white fight fans, all with his draw that he got against Gervonta Davis. Now they believe that this is going to be able to be a profitable endeavor for a pay-per-view. Now, let me also tell you that Rolly Romero, who is somebody else that Gervonta Davis fought in the past, will be on a pay-per-view that's going to be successful, most likely, when he defends his WBC 140-pound championship, or does he have the WBA?
Coach Reg offers a measured perspective on the criticism aimed at Gervonta Davis. He reminds everyone that Tank has already accomplished more than most fighters do at his age. In his view, there's nothing wrong with pursuing lucrative fights once you've proven your worth in the ring. Reg believes Davis has earned the right to secure his financial future after years of dedication, sacrifice, and risk. He points out that every boxer eventually reaches a stage where life-changing paydays become a priority. To Reg, critics fail to recognize how much Tank has given to the sport and how deeply committed he remains. He concludes that whether Davis decides to retire soon or continue fighting, his legacy as one of the premier lightweights of this generation is already firmly established.
I mean, especially Tank been talking about retiring, so why not get the bag and then go about your business if that's your plan? I mean, if that's your plan to retire, then go get the bag and go about your business. You ain't doing nothing wrong. I'm not against it.
You got some people that are very critical of Tank. Does it make sense depending on what you're in boxing for? Because you got some people that want to fight the best. You got some people that want the accolades, the belts, the undisputed. You got some people that just came into this game like, look, I'm trying to get my family out of poverty and give us generational wealth. Does it all depend on what you decided to box for?
Well, I mean, Tank accomplished a lot at a young age. You know what I mean? He accomplished a lot at a young age. So I wouldn't be mad if he took the bag and went about his business and never fought again. You know what I mean? Plus, like, look at some of the things that he's going through. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of that can affect you as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to be in this game. So, I think, you know, get the bag and go. That's your plan. Get the bag and go.
For me, of course, I wanted to see him fight Shakur. I wanted to see him fight Devin.
Yeah, but you don't want to see him fight.
Guess what, bro?